And of course, as if anybody could forget, Squadron 42.
So they started this sentence by saying the stuff we're intending to release this year, this is the first official in-person confirmation that they're still aiming for 2026. You may have all seen this yesterday, or whenever it was the other day. There was this article that came out with interviewing Chris, and what Chris said here about Squadron was, we're going to get Squadron out first. The plan is for the end of this year, but there's a certain thing in the game industry, that we, like everyone else, we have to pay attention to, so I can't 100% guarantee it. Referencing Grand Theft Auto. After that, we'll do the 1.0 push, which is good news for... that itself is good news for those of us who don't want to go and have to protest at the office that they're going to do Squadron 42 Episode 2. After Squadron 42 is out, we'll do that itself is massive. That's all I wanted to know. No protest. No, we don't need to go take our placards to the Manchester office. He's confirming that they're going to... The order is they do Squadron 42 and then they do 1.0. Happy days. I'm okay. So the key thing is with this article, as Prodigy just pointed out there, the journalist is based in Australia. So this was all done, and I think clearly it starts off the interview saying, it's 2026. One day in February, I find myself sitting in a hotel conference room opposite Chris Roberts. So in February, their intent was, they're saying we're going to do Squadron first. The plan is for the end of the year, which is interesting. But we can't guarantee it because of Squadron. I think things have changed. Here's my take. February, I can't guarantee it. In May's quite a long way through the year. Jared is saying on screen, first confirmation.
And of course, as if anybody could forget, Squadron 42.
In May, they basically still aiming for 2026. Which lines up with everything we've seen. It lines up with the things we've seen on the website, the changes to the buybacks. It lines up with the fact that it's now, there's a page for it here. You can click down here, Squadron 42 is an option. It takes you to here. Stay tuned for latest updates, including development news and pre-orders, talking about pre-orders. And it's still saying it's launching in 2026. And so, my friends, this may have seemed like a throwaway line, but they're still aiming for 2026. So what my take will be is, since February, which was a while back, because the problem is, GTA could well be delayed. And so if GTA suddenly gets delayed, like closing in on November, say CIG does this, they delay Squadron 42 to 2027, thinking, we just don't want to go up against GTA. We just can't do it. GTA gets delayed, CIG are stuffed. They're absolutely stuffed. They're completely stuffed. They cannot just dance around GTA. I think they have to go before. And I think Disco saying this, it can mean either they're going to, because again, Chris has said this, we have to pay attention to Grand Theft Auto. They cannot release it in November. The only real options they've got, they either go before October or maybe September, October, or they go after, which is insane. It's insane to do this. I mean, we do know that CIG, they do love to do a Christmas drop and break everything in the game. They'd be crazy to go in December, surely. Before makes more sense, exactly. Or launch it before Christmas, which I think is really risky because, again, GTA comes out in November. Everybody's talking about it. It's everywhere. Everyone's going, oh, GTA. I think they have to do this. But the fact that Jared is confirming they're still aiming for 2026, Disco Lando, and that everything's still on the website, it's coming. It's happening, guys. In an ideal world, this would happen for CIG. Launch, October, GTA, it's delayed. That's the ultimate. That's the ideal. That would be their wildest dreams. I think they won't release the game in the buggy state reliance of GTA 6. Chris Roberts has made that clear. I doubt they release early. Well, all we know is that they were aiming for the end of the year. End could mean anywhere, last quarter, let's say. I would assume end could mean anywhere from October, November, December. That would be my guess. And so they may have been aiming for that anyway. And so is bringing it forward a risk from a bug point of view or performance point of view or anything like that. And I'm saying they were probably looking to do October, November, December anyway. And they've had 2 years to polish. And then all the stuff they're saying about like back in Seoul. And so then they go on, again, we'll actually get there. Here's the bad news from here, which ties into this a bit.
There's a lot we got going on for the remainder of
this year. A lot going on.
And for that reason, we've made the decision not to host a CitizenCon event for 2026. either in person, digital, direct, or otherwise. It's a decision born out of how important these two games are to everyone on both sides of these projects.
Crunch time.
And while we'll certainly miss getting to meet so many of you
I
at
don't
once,
think 1 or 2 months
we
make
do
much-
encourage
a major difference in bugginess. Yeah, well, we hope. They've cancelled SitCon because have a lot on their plate. They are, I think, steaming towards a Squadron 42 launch. And like somebody said earlier, and we've been talking about, it is possible that no SitCon could then mean some sort of Squadron 42 launch. They could, because of the cancellation of CitizenCon, they could do an Invictus launch event with some of their crazy cast. They could. He's got the relationship with Chris Roberts. If anyone, I think, is rocking up to come and launch this on stage, I think it's Mark Hamill. Whether they'd sell it in person or whether it be digital, I don't know. But again, we've talked about this. We assume the Summer Games Fest, they have to pay for a slot of this. Have to. Running a trailer during Summer Games Fest main show this year cost $250,000 for 1 minute, $350,000 for 1.5 minutes, $450,000 for 2 minutes, and then $550,000 for 2.5 minutes. Oh, that's pennies for CIG, right? 100% worth it. Pay for a 10-minute slot. That's just the Odin sale. The hype is definitely starting. The hype train has left the station. I'm fully on board. The Ironclad has got me going. Might do a separate Squadron 42 launch, but yeah, this is kind of what that would be. If they do replace CitizenCon with, they might do effectively a launch party with all, and they interview the crew. They show us some behind the scenes stuff of all the motion capture stuff that they filmed back in 2015. They interview them all about the game. They get Henry Cavill. The ultimate is they want, if they did do this, they want Henry Cavill. Let me see if I can draw Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill smiling. This is Henry playing Squadron. That is like that. As we said before, if Henry Cavill is playing Squadron, well, in fact, he's probably on joysticks, isn't he? Henry Cavill is playing Squadron on joysticks. That is viral material. That is the material that everybody on the internet will see YouTube shorts of or TikToks of Henry Cavill playing as Henry Cavill in game, or not playing as, but interacting with himself in game. There's bound to be some stuff from there. I'll draw the Vandal for you as well. In theory, it's so easy. It's just whether you can convince Henry Cavill that this game that he filmed some, because I don't think he filmed a lot. This game that Henry Cavill filmed some motion capture for back 11 years ago, can he be convinced to come and play it on a stage? That's the question, or for a video. I feel like you're all going to be so cross if I'm completely wrong here, because I feel like I'm leading the charge. We need a train. Here's the way to look at it. Here's maybe one way to look at it. They would be nuts, absolutely nuts, to still be aiming to 2026 if they didn't have a strategy to get around GTA. They'd be nuts. For him to come out in May, 5 months into the year, we're nearly halfway through the year, they would be nuts if they didn't have this all planned out. There's no way he's coming on camera. This confirms even more. Come on, everybody. Choo-choo. There's just no chance. This is all this isn't some sort of like live show where he's just gone, oh, and by the way, they've scripted this, they filmed it, they can edit it, they can take things out, they can put things in. This is an intentional piece of marketing to say it's coming still. They don't do this if they're still like, oh, I wonder what we should do about GTA. They don't do this. They're experts at marketing in some ways. Look at this. Look at us spending 2 hours here waffling on about made up spaceships and working out. We're guessing how much they've got us. We're in. They've drawn us in. We're obsessed with this silly game. Look at this. Some people are about to spend $5,000 on a picture of a spaceship that might be a bit better than that. Hopefully, they know what they're doing from a marketing point of view. They don't come out and say that if they don't have a date. Here's what I would say. I'm almost now convinced by all this happening here. Internally, they have a date. If you were to hack the CIG servers, find all their emails, they have a date internally. And I think maybe when Chris did that interview back in February, when he's talking here, somebody's interviewing him in Australia in February, I don't think at that stage, when he says the plan is for the end of this year, but there's a certain thing in the industry. I think in February they didn't know what they were going to do. I think they didn't know how to deal with GTA 6. I think now they do. All the stuff that we've seen changing, all the website changes, Jared confirming it on video, I'm convinced they know their date. There is a chance still that something goes wrong and they mess up and the date does not happen. Because they're still working on performance stuff. So whenever you hear about the like ray tracing stuff, they're always still talking about how they want to improve performance for Squadron. So there's still things that they're doing, but they've got 5 months until October. I think they're aiming for before GTA. There's a chance they're aiming for Christmas. I think that's a terrible idea. But I don't think delaying it to 2027, say the game's completely ready, like it's completely done. Bugs are sorted. They literally have it ready. They could drop it at any point. It doesn't make sense to delay it to 2027 to avoid GTA, because I think GTA will still bulge, it will still overflow into 2027, and also there is the risk that GTA itself gets delayed another 6 months. And so I think if the game is actually ready and it is not buggy and it's not broken, all that sort of stuff, you go before. I think that they have to go, in my opinion, before GTA, if it actually is ready. You lost hype for the game 15 years ago. Well, yeah. But remember, this isn't just about Squadron 42 hype. Ultimately, this is about Star Citizen hype. Get this game out, and as Chris has confirmed in that interview, after that, we'll do the 1.0 push. That is actually the best thing that's come out over the last few days. He didn't say we'll get Squadron 42 out and then we'll do Squadron 42 episode 2. He said we'll get Squadron out, and after that, we'll do the 1.0 push. That's the best news we possibly could have heard, I think. Here's the real negative take on this. If you were like really cynical, you could say that they've done this, they said it's still coming, so they can sell all these spaceships. Because more hype about Squadron coming definitely feeds people's likelihood to buy more spaceships, like 100%. As in, say he'd said here, oh, Squadron is not coming in 2026. We're delaying it a year for GTA. That will, on some levels, have affected their ship sales. So if you're really cynical, you might say maybe this was tactics. I think even for CIG, that would be such a low move. If you think he genuinely he's come onto this show and lied to us, and he at this stage knows they're not going to hit 2026, that's such a poor move. I don't think he would do that. I don't think he'd come on screen and lie to us directly. So as of May, they think it's happening. Everything points to it happening. The hype train is here. The confidence is between lots of votes for 7, lots of votes for 9, lots of votes for 10. We're either in for the best year for Star Citizen ever, like genuinely the best ever year from every aspect. We're either in for that, or we're in, if it doesn't happen, we're in for unbelievable crushing devastation and tears.